All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja Security Advisory. We're interrupting your day for a critical reason. A ghost has been found in the machine. We're talking about a threat that's been hiding for 30 years, and it's now active. We're here to give you the intelligence you need to fight back, and you need to act right now.
Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some brand new, sophisticated threat. It's a ghost from 1996. A piece of vulnerable code has been sleeping inside one of the internet's most fundamental libraries, and, well, it just woke up. This is a story about legacy debt, and believe me, the bill has just come due. And that really brings us to the million-dollar question for every single operator, engineer, and security pro watching this. Is this ghost in your machine? Given how widespread this is, the chances are pretty high. And the time to find out is now. Okay, let's get into the specifics. The vulnerability is officially designated CVE-2026-0915. We're calling it the Ghost, not just because it's 30 years old, but because it has this nasty habit of quietly leaking secrets from the very heart of your systems.
So what are we actually dealing with here? It's a flaw in the GNU C Library. You know it as glibc. You gotta think of glibc as the bedrock that countless applications are built on in the Linux world. Your web servers, your databases, they all lean on it. So when the foundation has a crack this big, the entire structure is at risk. So how exactly is this ghost summoned? It's not simple. It requires a very specific chain of events. The flaw itself lives in a function called getnetbyaddr, and it's in a massive range of glibc versions. An attacker can only trigger it if your system is configured to use DNS for certain lookups. And here's the final step, the key. They have to trick an application into sending a network query with a value of exactly 0. That's the trigger.
And here's the scary part. When all those conditions line up just right, the application doesn't just crash. No, it leaks raw, uninitialized memory from the stack straight to the DNS resolver. This is basically a fire hose of your private data aimed directly at a potentially malicious destination.
So let's talk about that blast radius. What does a leak like this actually mean for you? Why are we issuing this urgent advisory? This is why it matters. You know, this quote from the researchers who discovered it, it just says it all. For 3 decades, this bug has been sitting there, silently waiting. Anything stored in memory, even for a split second, was at risk of being broadcast, totally unencrypted, for anyone listening to just scoop up. And let's be crystal clear about what lying around in memory really means. We are talking about the crown jewels here, auth tokens, private keys, API secrets. And it gets worse. The leak can actually expose data about the memory layout itself, which an attacker can then use to bypass a critical defense called ASLR. That makes a whole bunch of other attacks way, way easier to pull off.
Unsurprisingly, this thing scores a 7.5 on the CVSS scale. That's high severity. And why so high? Because a remote attacker with 0 credentials can just pull sensitive information right out of your system. It's incredibly low effort for them, and the reward is huge.
This timeline here is pretty interesting because it shows how our understanding of the risk evolved. At first, it was rated a 5.3, just a medium. But once researchers realized it could leak enough data to bypass key defenses like ASLR, the score was correctly escalated to a 7.5 high. This is responsible disclosure in action, folks.
Okay, that brings us to the most important part of this entire advisory, what you need to do right now. This is your mitigation protocol. Pay close attention.
Here is your 3-step plan. Step 1, patch. This is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to upgrade glibc to a fixed version to kill this ghost for good. Step 2, audit. I want you to check your nsswitch.conf file. If you aren't using DNS for these specific network lookups, remove it. Shrink your attack surface. Step 3, monitor. Your SOC needs to start hunting for the attacker's signature, which is anomalous, zero-value DNS queries. Go, now!
The good news is patches are rolling out across the ecosystem. Major distros like Red Hat and Debian are definitely affected. Debian 14 already has a fix out, and others are landing as we speak. Your immediate action item is to check with your specific vendor, read their advisory, and get those updated packages. To hunt down this ghost across your entire infrastructure, you need to use your vulnerability scanners. For those of you using Tenable's tools, the Nessus plugin ID you're looking for is 288876. You have to automate your detection to make sure you don't miss a single vulnerable host.
Now that we've covered the immediate actions, it's really worth taking a second to understand the history here. The story of this bug's discovery is a huge lesson for all of us.
So check this out. The vulnerable code was actually born back in 1996. It just lay dormant for 30 years until its public disclosure on January 15, 2026. Then, within just a few days, the community reassessed its severity, and only a week after disclosure, patches were already being deployed. This timeline is a testament to how quickly the open-source community can react once a threat is finally identified.
A crucial question always remains: are attackers actually using this in the wild? We're disclosing this now, following coordinated vulnerability disclosure principles, precisely to get defenders like you ahead of the adversaries.
Now, for the good news. As of this advisory, there is no public proof-of-concept exploit out there, and we have no evidence of active exploitation in the wild. Yes, the attack does require a specific system configuration, but, and this is a big but, the potential payoff of leaking high-value secrets is so significant that you can't let that complexity make you complacent. Patching is still urgent.
And this really brings us to the ultimate lesson here. This vulnerability is a powerful, powerful reminder that our modern world is built on code that's decades old. It proves the absolute necessity for continuous auditing and real-time monitoring to find the next ghost before it finds us.
So, we've given you the protocol to exercise this 30-year ghost from your systems. The larger question we want to leave you with is this: what other ghosts are hiding in your code? Now is the time to start hunting. Stay vigilant.